Hello, I'm Wendy Wilson, and I'd like to welcome you to a special edition of Realizing Potential. This is a very bittersweet moment for me. I am having a conversation, we're about to have a conversation with a colleague who is just amazing on so many different levels. I'm extremely proud of her. She has planned her career trajectory and very well. In my opinion, she may share something a little different in terms of some of the challenges that she may have encountered along the way, but whatever it was, she stayed the course, stayed focused. She did not go unnoticed, and she is moving on to a different and a unique position, one that she certainly deserves, and I'm so excited for her and the new institution that she is about to become a part of. She is none other than Captain Anita Allen, and also interim Assistant Chief at Albany State University, Police Chief. How are you?
I'm well.
Good. Yes, you are well. You're about to do something absolutely amazing. So congratulations again for those viewers who do not know, and I know Fort Valley is going to publicize this for quite some time because they are getting a jewel, but you are going to serve as their new Chief of Police.
Yes, I am.
Wow. You will be sorely missed around here. Let's talk about what you, I want to start here at Albany State, but that's not fair because although this has been very rewarding for us, and I'm sure for you as well, and the service that you've provided, there was a life before Albany State. So tell the viewers a little bit about your academic pursuits and your whole career path that led up to your current role.
Okay, well that goes back to 2001, working for the Dougherty County Sheriff's Office here in Albany, Georgia. When I started with them, I was a detention officer working in the jail. Yeah, that's what a lot of people said, yeah.
And I'll tell you why I said that in a little bit.
Working there, I worked my way to a field training officer, which I enjoyed that because I really enjoyed the jail when I was working there then. As a field training officer, I became a corporal. I was able to supervise some of the officers there, a total of back then, the jail was like 1,000 to 1,100 inmates total in the facility. I worked my way up to another lateral move as a corporal of the substance abuse program, GED, in Alcohol Anonymous. I was that coordinator there, and I assisted other people that came in to teach the inmates with the GED classes and the Alcohol Anonymous classes and the substance abuse classes. In that role, I also played a part in the court systems when the inmates went to court and they had to be sentenced, and that was a part of their sentencing, taking those classes. From there, I went down to the sheriff's office as an investigator, a criminal investigator, when Sheriff Spruill came in. So I was from a corporal to a lieutenant, and I worked under the direction of Captain Craig Dodd, who was one of my mentors, and Pamela Johnson, and Dean Gore and Eric Miller. They all trained me. It was all new to me, so I got a lot of training there.
Excellent.
I did some undercover work there as well. The sheriff put me out in the community. He also named me at one point the face of the agency. I thought that was pretty cool. I had an opportunity to network with the community, be on a lot of different boards in the community. It was very fun. I really enjoyed it. From there, of course, a lot of interaction with the community. I had the opportunity to come the first time over here with Albany State University with Chief John Fields then. He was a captain from the Sheriff's Office years ago. I actually worked up under him there with operational support. Working with him, coming over here, he mentored me as well. I learned so much working on the college campus. I had the opportunity, it was sad to say, I was like, well, I have an opportunity to go with Georgia Department of Public Health for 2 years. And I talked with him about it. You know, I wanted to pursue that opportunity because you don't get a chance like that. I mean, it was like one in a lifetime chance for me. So when I went over to work with Georgia Department of Public Health, I was the executive assistant to the health director. Dr. Jacqueline Grant was in that position then. And it was a very fun position. She was a great boss to work for. When she left later, I got Dr. Ruiz, who's now currently serving in that role. Had an opportunity again to be a part of the health boards, a lot of different meetings, learned good to great, travel, just to learn a lot about the health system and the health departments and how they operate in emergency management and how that ties in with law enforcement. When I did my 2 years with them, I had the opportunity to come back because there was a training position that was open here with Albany State. And I came back, applied for it, and of course Chief John Fields welcomed me with open arms. And this position has just taken off. I love it. It's more than just training. I came in as a captain. In this position, I have done mentorships with the students. I've worked just hours with community networking, being out on different boards, working with the community, working with students to be able to find things in the community they didn't know about. Networking as far as them jobs, the court system. If we did have students that had a couple of rough edges during their tour here at Albany State, being able to get them back on track. The mediation piece here with ASU, doing the women's empowerment, getting involved with the school system. Richard Williams, who's with Monroe High, he's an instructor. We had a program we created where we had all the local high schools, including Lee County, to come out. We had a whole day. It was 160 female students in the criminal justice program where we did a women's empowerment. Excellent. We got some strong female leaders from the community to come in and talk to the young ladies. We had some people here from ASU to talk to the young ladies. It was like a field trip. We fed them lunch. We had the little wristbands. Yay. And we had little cards that we gave them, telling them to be great, be confident in themselves. We just had a great time with that. That is, I always like to talk about that because talking with Richard Williams with the high school students, that's something we want to keep doing here at Albany State because the girls loved it. I still get compliments about it. I still see students that I can't even remember that wave and say, hey, you remember me from that program? So that was a great program. The mentorship here is a big thing that I've been doing. Internal affairs as well. I do that while I'm here. Sexual assault, I'm the primary sexual assault investigator. I still do some investigations as well, but I'm a mouthpiece for Chief John Fields. When he's not available, he sends me out, and I do a lot of that networking as well. I went to school to Grace Bible College, which is a satellite program here with Victory Bible College, where I received my associate's degree. And then I also went off with North Carolina College of Theology and have my bachelor's in theology, biblical studies. And I'm working on my master's now in theology. So that's a little bit in a nutshell about me.
Oh my goodness, a little bit. That's more, and you and I have known each other for quite some time, and so I learned some new things about you. While I was listening to you, I also was saying to myself, I don't know who her competition was competing for this position that you now have, or you're about to go into at Fort Valley, but you had to have annihilated them. I mean, your portfolio is so diverse, so expansive, but it also hits all of the critical areas that you would want any leader to have or to possess when they're governing and serving in the role that you're about to serve of, the well-being and the safety of not only the students, but the entire population that rests within an organization, and this particular organization being Fort Valley. Let me go back and explain why I said, is I was also reminded that we often stereotype unconsciously. And so I would imagine that is one role when you were working with the detention center. We just envision or already in our minds profile what that individual looks like. And so you do your job very well, but you also look like a supermodel. So we do that on the weekends and in the evenings and working with young people in that role too. So that's why I made that expression, or gave that expression. I'd like to kind of delve into your leadership style, how you've been able to hone that. And I know you've had some great mentors along the way, both male and female. And I have commented to you and to also John Fields that I'm one of the most proud of in terms of me observing you in this role here at Albany State is certainly what you effortlessly bring to the table and you do in the role, but his conscious decision to pour into you. He has been and is still very proud of you, and rightfully so. And has said to me that it's going to be, and what we know is going to be a huge asset to Albany State. But it's time for you to make that leap. And I'm elated that the leadership there at Fort Valley has welcomed you, or is welcoming you with open arms, and recognizes what you will bring in that role. But I said this to you in a conversation the three of us were having a couple weeks ago, that when you have a male to serve as a mentor and as an advisor, and particularly in the discipline or the area that you all are in, criminal justice and law enforcement, which is so heavy dominated with males, but for him to then see something in you, and not, as oftentimes happens, regardless as to whatever the discipline or the area or the field is, for him to not factor in gender, but to say, this is a leader that stands before me, and I'm going to do my part to ensure that she excels and is excellent in her role, and then moves on. So share a little bit about that experience that you've had with him, and then the other experiences or moments that have contributed to the leader that you are.
Okay. John Fields is an awesome person to work for. One of the things that he's always told me, because I was humble and hungry at the same time, but he always said, you're very humble, and he could just pour in to me whatever it was, and I'm listening. I'm always listening and taking notes and just taking it all in. But I'm always wanting to know how others do their job, because I always envision, if they can do it, I believe I can do it. And I can do it just as better as they can, you know. And I have to think that way, because you have to work hard at what you want, but you have to be fair, firm, and consistent, and be open-minded to take it to the next level.
Sure.
Chief Fields has taken me basically by the hand. Every meeting that he felt that was important, that will help enhance my professional development, he has done that. Any little thing that he could think of that say, hey, you might want to know this. This may help you later in your future. And sometimes, like, really, is that really going to help me? And he was right. When I go back and look at notes, when I go back and just think about some of the conversations and some of the meetings that I've attended, it makes sense. Everything is coming together. He's always given me good advice on how to make great professional decisions. I always sit back and I monitor the way he does things, and also the way other people do things. I always listen. It's good to listen and hear what's going on around you. Even when you don't understand it, it's good to listen. Chief Fields has just been so great as far as, I mean, he's never been the type to beat on his chest and say, you know, I know it all. Let's learn together. If I don't have the answer, let's find out the answer together. Or if he didn't have the answer and I had the answer, he would be humble enough to listen and allow me to give him the answer. And he can accept it just like, you know, anybody else could, or I would. That's what I loved about Chief Fields. If I had questions, I can ask him. If I had a question at 12 o'clock at night, and I say, hey, I need an answer on this one.
Right.
He would answer his call. He would say, you know, that's correct. That's the right way to do it. Those things help build great leaders. Indeed. And he also allows us, not just me, the entire department, for professional development. A part of my professional development was being the interim assistant chief here at Albany State University. I was honored and proud when he announced that, and I got my pins on my shoulders, and it was great. It was just so great. I've had that desire in this field. You know, at some point I want to be a director someday. Never knew actually how. I used to always think about the jail first. You know, I'm going to run that jail someday. I'm going to be the first female to run that jail. I used to always say that. And then, of course, you know, you have a little different direction of where you're going in your career. Sometimes you want to, I took a different direction, but it worked out for the good for me.
Absolutely.
And now that I'm sitting in this position where I feel I've worked hard, I feel I've put my time in, I've tried to be professional throughout my whole career. Integrity was a key. That's a pet peeve of mine, being professional, giving people courteous customer service at all times, whether I'm on duty or off duty. I try to carry myself in that way everywhere I go, and I feel it really paid off. I feel that being under Chief Fields, his professional development has gotten me prepared for the chief of police position that I have received at Fort Valley State University. And I am just so excited and I am honored. So
Wow. Yes. You just all I can say is yes to that. And I'm sitting here a little sour, I guess that's the word that comes to mind, because you will be a tough act to follow. But as you said, that he is constantly grooming and developing. So it is now time for someone to then step into the role that you hold here. Let's shift a little bit and give a little more attention to Fort Valley State University. Fort Valley is not unlike many other higher ed institutions, dealing with a myriad of challenges to the best of their ability, always remaining very student focused, which is why we all are here. It's our goal to provide the academic component, but certainly a healthy, holistic environment in terms of the students' development. But have faced some challenges that have put them at the forefront, and I know you are aware of that. But one of the things I'm sure that you've quickly been able to take pride in is that the leadership is taking those issues and those matters head on, and again, still remaining very student focused, making sure that the goal or the mission is being met on a daily basis. What were some of the things that you shared with them, particularly during your interview phase, as to how you would continue to enhance the goals and initiatives that they have? Again, the primary focus being that student. How would you then assist them, or in your particular case, lead your piece or your area in marching forward?
Well, the first thing that I told Fort Valley State, you have to lead by example. So if you're going to walk in integrity, if you're going to speak it, if you're going to talk it, if you're going to, you got to lead by example. That's the first thing. And what I mean by lead by example, if I walk in integrity every day, if I'm walking in that confidence level of saying that I am here for you to the student, then they need to feel that way. They need to feel that they can trust me. I'm open-minded when it comes down to the students. Safety is first.
Sure.
But most importantly, our students are second. We got to make sure we take care of our students. We got to make sure they're away from home. Our parents are trusting us to make sure that we give them what they need while they're here with us. Not saying that we're babysitters, but we're mentors. We're parents on the side. We're teachers. We love them, and we need to make sure they understand that. Having an open door policy for the students. Students can come in and say, "Okay, tell me about your thoughts today." It's no different than what I do here. What are you thinking about today? What can I help you? How can I help you get back on track? Even though if they may have challenges where they may have gotten off track, well, how can I help you get back on track so you can be successful and you can graduate on time? We want to keep our students here. We want to keep our students safe. We want them to enjoy. We want them to be happy. But at the same time, we want them to have an input at the university. What are some ideas that they're bringing to the table? Being visible when they see me speaking, giving them the utmost customer service at all times. When I walk past students, I always speak. I'm speaking, saying, "Hello, how are you today?" With my young ladies, we have this thing I know here at ASU, "Your eyebrows on fleek, you look cute today, I like your lashes." Little things such as that makes a student smile. Just as you smile, that's what makes them smile, knowing that someone cares.
Indeed.
So if they're in a crisis, in a time of trouble, they'll always remember that smile, that hello, that wave that I gave them, or anybody from the campus community or the police department, and they can come back and say, "Hey, I might want to talk to Miss Allen, or I might want to talk to the other officer about this situation because I don't know what to do." We want to create a place of safety where they can feel comfortable coming to us. And you have to have that anywhere you go.
Oh, I agree.
That's very important. And I feel that way because I have 2 college students. I want my kids to be able to go to somebody on that campus and say, "Hey, can you help me? Or will you just listen to me?" Sometimes you can just listen to a student and let them open up, and you can find the root of the problem. There's always a why to every situation. And if you have a way of listening and good communication skills with the students, you can find out all kind of things, and that can help better that student. You never know until you listen, until you have that policy, or you have that leadership where you're available, you're touchable to the student. And I also just want to bring, the professional level to the campus community, making sure we're keeping it safe, taking it to the next level. Mm-hmm. What are some ideas that I could bring to Fort Valley State University that will take it to the next level?
Great. I agree wholeheartedly. Oftentimes, I've seen institutions provide a disservice, particularly academic institutions, to the student because they're so focused on providing the academic environment and providing them with the level of instruction so that they can walk away prepared to then establish an acumen in whatever discipline they've pursued. So it's accounting or education or whatever that is. And so we're so focused on that unfortunately we miss the holistic piece. And so can they navigate? Can they interact with other individuals? So again, the customer service piece that they mentioned. So when crisis dawns their doorstep and you cannot get through life without it happening, whether it be an individual, whether it be an organization, how do you respond to that moment? And again, and approach it with a level of integrity and transparency. And so that is absolutely part of our roles in addition to the classroom instruction to these students, how we respond to moments in life and using those challenges and those opportunities those challenges and obstacles, and then transform them into an opportunity. And what good can come of this? And you have to sometimes create the good.
Absolutely. You have to invest in your students, and that's what we should do. You know, here at Albany State, I said I have 5,000 plus students. They're my children. And if they need me, I am there for them. I give my cell phone number out. That's one thing I learned from Chief. You know, a lot of people won't do that, but I'll give it out. And if I get a call 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I am here. I'm awake. I'm listening to you. What can I do to help you? You never know how that can change a student's life. You don't know what their mindset may be about. You don't know if they're thinking about suicide or not. But just by you listening to that student and finding out ways to help them, and also getting your staff trained. You know, CIT training, we have everybody in our department trained so they can know how to deal with a student or a faculty or staff member that's in crisis. That's a very important tool to have, and that's what we do at Albany State, and that's another thing that I plan on making sure that all the officers have gone through that training.
Let's expound upon that a little bit. How do you envision your first 90 days there as it relates to your officers? Because as you so eloquently alluded to, it is going to take a team effort. And so yes, you're serving as a chief, but again, it's those that work arm in arm, and sometimes in front of you, behind you, beside you. It's a collective effort. So what will that 90 days look like as it relates to them and your interaction with them?
Of course, coming in, meeting and greeting the new employees that I'll be mentoring, because I will say mentoring, just observing and watching, how everything operates, getting involved, because I like to be involved, even though, yes, they say the chief of police, but I like to know what's going on. Getting involved with the campus community, just trying to see how, how it's functioning now, and I'm pretty sure it's great, and find ways to just enhance, to just take it to the next level. I would like to talk to the staff, just kind of see what ideas they may have or ideas they want to bring to the table, or some concerns that they may have in the police department, or concerns that they may have with the campus community. And also getting involved with the other local law enforcement agencies, just to see how well are their relationships between Fort Valley State Police Department and your local law enforcement, your sheriff's office or your PD there. And if so, let's bridge that gap and let's become one and let's network together so we can work hand in hand, because it is a team effort. At the end of the day, it's going to take all of us to continue to make this campus safe, and it's going to take teamwork. I believe in teamwork. That's my number one thing, even though I'm at the head, but it takes all of us. It takes the security officers, the dispatchers to make everything else function. The dispatchers are the heartbeat of our department. You can't get a call out unless you go through them. So they're very valuable. Our security officers will be the eyes and the ears of the campus of what's going on. Those are the ones that are going to be able to say, hey, we have this going on, and tell the patrol officers. So it's a teamwork effort just to see how everything operates, which I'm pretty sure it does very well, but just see how I can enhance to make it better and just take it to the next level.
Okay, so the assessment period, I love that. I love that. Let's discuss your those individuals, and I'm sure you could name quite a few. And we talked about Chief Fields. I heard you mention Sproul earlier, but name some mentors outside of the scope of law enforcement that influence you.
Well, Colette Jenkins is one.
Okay.
I love Colette.
She's amazing,
yes.
isn't she? Yes.
Yes. Outside of that, I do a lot of community outreach. One of the things I like to do is, of course, you always hear me say that Lady V is mentoring the young ladies. And this is a mentor piece where I like to help build self-esteem, character, in individuals. And Colette, when she came in my life, she was a great mentor to me. She helped me, even though you look at me and say, well, she's a strong young lady, which I am, but you still have, like you say, you still have other things that you have to deal with and you work on. And by her pouring into me, it helped me to pour out to others. And it gave me ideas. So, wow, what can I do to help people in the community? What can I do to get involved? Those were some of the things that Colette has done for me. My mom is a great mentor. A praying woman, of course. I can always go to her 24/7 anytime I need to. She has been a mentor all my life, and I love her for that, and she will always be one of my mentors. My Victory family, Victory Tabernacle, Pastor Eddie Adams, he's another mentor, where I could go to him and talk to him about certain things and making sure I'm making the right decision. He's been a mentor in my life. I mentioned Major Johnson, even though she's with the Sheriff's Office, but she has been a mentor as well outside of law enforcement. She's been great. She's been a good mentor as far as just making sure the leadership skills, even on the outside, being on community boards. I've had so many other mentors that are in law enforcement. Tracy Hudson is another one on the outside of law enforcement as well. She's a chief investigator with the district attorney's office. She's a great mentor, and I think I've been able to mentor with her a little bit as well. It's been so many more people here, even at Albany State. Just people I have met, just on the campus have been great mentors.
Great.
So it's just so many that I'm missing, but if they're
I
listening,
you'll think of them at 3 o'clock this morning.
Absolutely, I know I will.
Yeah, I do that all the time. I should have said. But one of the things that I know that you consistently do is when you have those opportunities to thank those individuals.
I do.
And the impact that they've had on your life, big or small. I just had lunch with a colleague, and we were just catching up, and it had been a while, and she said something that struck me, and it was that somebody had commented to her about the impact that I had had on them, and so you start processing, well, what is it that I said? Because the encounter was very brief, but you're always very humbled to know that what you say, how you engage, how you interact, what you don't say, how you respond, influences people. You always want it to be certainly in a positive way. So
absolutely,
people are feeding off of you. That's why we know that Fort Valley is just getting an amazing individual, because what you will do is what you've been able to do here. And so you have the unique ability to transcend your role and your responsibilities. And just the passion that you have, the belief and the confidence in the students, and always providing them with, and not just students, your colleagues as well, with just a shining example that I'm going to give this day my very, very best. And when I'm in need or lacking something, be then in a position to defer or then ask someone for some support. Right. You've done that. How long have you been here doing that so well? How many years has it been here at Albany State?
If you count my first year, to be 3 years.
3 years.
It's going on 3 years.
Okay. Okay.
And I love it. I'm a people person.
You are.
I love people.
You are.
And I like to create change and find a creative way of doing it. Yes. Where there's life, there's hope. So I tell my students that you're breathing. Where there's life, there is still hope for you. It's not over. Let's find ways to make it happen. Stand. It's one thing I tell them, none of us are perfect. And they need to hear that. None of us are perfect. And when they get off track, I like to grab hold to them and say, let's get back on track. We can do it together. You can't do it alone. It takes a team. It takes everyone being a part of it. I love it when I see the students graduate, when they say, and wink their eyes, say, yep, that was one of mine right there.
Oh, I love
But it feels good that they've made it.
Yes.
They've made it out. It also feels good when parents call back and say thank you. I can't remember, which student that was, but they're saying thank you for helping my child.
Yes.
That means a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
When I hear that knows that I'm doing my job and I have given it my all. I really do care about the students because, like I said, I have two.
Yes.
And I want to make sure somebody is taking care of my two students. So I make it a vow to the parents. New student orientation, that's what we do. We're here to make sure your students are safe. We're here to make sure they get what they need to mentor, do mediations, whatever the case may be, so they can leave here successfully and go out and be great in the community.
And the beauty of encountering now a Chief Anita Allen is that, particularly as a student, is oftentimes my mom used to always say to me when I would start critiquing or being judgmental, is that everybody doesn't have the same parents, everybody doesn't have the same mother. And so all of those things that you have bathed in and empower you, that was given to you about all those mentors and your mother, and those people that have entered and poured into your life, everybody does not have that same path.
Right.
And so then to be able to encounter someone like yourself who immediately just connects with them, and whatever it is that you're lacking, I am here, we are here as an institution, Fort Valley, Albany State University, to help develop, to pour in, and to help you bloom into what you've been destined to walk into. And sometimes when you encounter those individuals, that is the first time, those students, that they have ever heard that before.
That is true. You're right. That is true. And when they hear it, sometimes it's like a knockoff, like, I don't believe it.
Right.
And I say, well, you're going to believe it because I'm going to speak life into you.
Yes.
And when you speak life into someone, even though they may just look in the daze when they're staring at you because they've never heard it, but when you show it, that makes a difference.
Sure.
When you show it, that makes a difference.
Absolutely.
When they call on you, when you say you can call me, and you answer, and it's at an odd time, because it's not 8 to 5.
Oh,
it's not 8 to 5. I'd say that all the time.
Right.
It could be a 9:30 p.m., 2 o'clock a.m.
Right.
And when you answer and you pick up the phone, they're like, she answered. And they say, you said I could call you.
Absolutely. They're going to hold you to it.
You doggone right. And I answer, and I see whatever I can do to help them. That changes their mindset because she actually cares.
Right. Right.
When nobody else would, she actually cares. Regardless if they had mom and dad or a single parent home, that changes everything because somebody cares about me. She said, I will make it, even though they said I won't make it.
Right.
She said that I will make it because you have to speak that.
You do. And I'm sure we'll have some viewers that this is an awakening experience, this exchange that you and I are having. Because oftentimes we have created in our minds, or what's presented to us in a 50-minute scenario on television as to what law enforcement looks like. And certainly not having a limited gauge or understanding as to what it looks like on a college or a university campus. And so again, it is more than just ensuring that the buildings are safe.
Right.
That, how do you respond if, heaven forbid, there's an active shooter or a crisis moment? It is being able to connect with those students and providing a safe, holistic environment for them.
Absolutely.
So it's more than just the protection of their physical safety, but their emotional and their mental safety.
Yes.
Yes.
We want them to be great.
Yes.
And successful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so I know we only have a few more days with you here. So your official start date is when?
June 1st.
June 1st. Oh, we're going to have to make that, well, Fort Valley, I'm going to have to call Dr. Jones. Are you making that a national holiday? You need to make that a national holiday. They are just getting absolutely someone who's just exceedingly remarkable.
Thank you.
And so, again, as I've said this to you along the way, and I will say it to you again, I've always admired you up close and at a distance.
Oh, thank you.
And one of the things that I have to add to the list is that you and now I'm going to focus on gender because we don't do this enough as women is you took a leap into a great leadership opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a big leap.
it is, but you will do exceedingly well in it. You were doing it all along. You're just on a different platform, more visible, but you've been preparing for this for countless years, even when you didn't know that you were preparing for this.
Yeah, you're right.
And but again, it was that courage to say, yes, I'm going to do it. And why we have those reservations as women, I do not know, but that's something we have to work on. So I stand in awe of you that you did that. And so not only the entire student body at Fort Valley, but the faculty and staff, they have a lot to behold. And so I'm so excited about their future and you serving in that role. I know they are in outstanding hands. You should be, absolutely.
I'm excited.
Yeah, they should be excited too.
I hope so.
I know that they are, and I'm teasing at them. I know that they are. They made an excellent choice. And Albany State is that much better having had you serve in the many roles that you've served here. So
I'm gonna miss you all.
We're going to miss you too. And before I get choked up, again, just know that I'm so proud of you, excited about the success that I know that institution will continue to have and the difference that you will make, and the example and just the application of all that you bring to the table generously, because you do that. I was always excited to hear about your level of involvement that you have within the community, because you make it more than just, although you say it's not 9 to 5, and I know that it's not, but you always go above and beyond, because you know the importance of the little and the great make the difference in making the great, particularly as it relates to students. So you've got to come back and let me know. I'll let you get acclimated there, but you must absolutely come back and tell us what you've done. I'll give you 6 months to a year before I start calling you again, but know that Albany State is always home for you. I know Chief has probably said that to you.
He has.
And I can't, I've got my shades on in my purse. That future is so bright of yours, and so I look forward to donning those. But continued success. Chief Anita Allen of Old Habits, Fort Valley State University. Yes, continued success. I'm so very proud of you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Viewers, thank you so much for joining me for this very special edition of Realizing Potential. I'm Wendy Wilson, and I will see you next time.